In Washington, after years of development in secrecy, America's newest nuclear stealth bomber is now making its public debut as part of the Pentagon's response to growing concerns about a potential clash with China. The B-21 Raider is the country's first brand new bomber in more than 30 years. Almost all facets of the program are secret. Only artist representations of the warplane have been made public before to its unveiling on Friday at an Air Force facility in Palmdale, California. Those few pictures show how much the Raider resembles the B-2 Spirit, the black nuclear stealth bomber it will eventually replace. The Pentagon stated this week in its annual China report that China is on track to have 1,500 nuclear weapons by 2035 and that its advancements in hypersonic technology, cyber warfare, space capabilities, and other areas present the most consequential and systemic challenge to U.S. national security and the free and open international system. When the Raider contract was announced in 2015, Air Force Secretary Deborah Lee James stated, "We needed a new bomber for the 21st century that would allow us to take on much more complicated threats, like the threats that we fear we would one day face from China and Russia." The B-21 can handle these much more difficult threats because it is more resilient. Because technology has improved so much in terms of the computational capabilities that we can now include in the software of the B-21, Warden added, the way it runs internally is incredibly sophisticated compared to the B-2. According to several defense analysts, other modifications may include the use of cutting-edge materials and coatings to make the bomber harder to detect, new techniques for controlling electronic emissions to enable the bomber to fool enemy radars and pass for another object, and new propulsion technologies. The Falls Church, Virginia-based Northrop Grumman Corporation claimed in a fact sheet that it is utilizing new manufacturing techniques and materials to ensure the B-21 will defeat the anti-access, area denial systems it will encounter. When we talk about low observability, Warden stated, it is really low observability. You won't actually see it, but you'll hear it. The Air Force is building 100 B-21 Raiders, which can carry a crew or operate autonomously and can deliver conventional or nuclear bombs. 6 of these aircraft are already in construction. The Raider's comparatively speedy development is another selling feature for the Air Force and Northrop. The bomber took 7 years from contract award to first flight. It has taken decades for other new fighter and ship programs. Government watchdogs are troubled by the fact that the price is not disclosed. Dan Grazier, a senior defense policy fellow at the Project on Government Oversight, said, "It might be a tremendous problem for us to perform our typical study of a major program like this. Before the B-21 takes to the air, it is simple to assert that it is still on track. Because real issues are only identified once one of these programs enters the testing phase. At that point, schedules begin to seriously deteriorate and costs to significantly increase." The Air Force ultimately built only 21 of the B-2s due to cost overruns and a changed security climate following the fall of the Soviet Union, despite the B-2 being intended to be a fleet of more than 100 aircraft. Due to the aged bomber's extensive maintenance requirements, fewer than that are prepared to fly on any given day, according to Todd Harrison, an aerospace expert and managing director at Matria Strategic Insights. In order to extend its range, the B-21 Raider, which gets its name from the 1942 Doolittle raid over Tokyo, will be a little bit smaller than the B-2, according to Warden. In order to accommodate the size and complexity of the bomber, Warden indicated that the new Raider will also receive new hangars. The debut itself represents the final observable change. Both will have made their debuts in the Air Force's Palmdale Plant 42, but in 1988, the B-2 was unveiled in front of a large crowd. Due to improvements in surveillance satellites and cameras, the Raider will make its debut undercover and inside of a hangar. The hangar doors will open in front of invited guests, such as Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, to reveal the bomber for its public debut before they close once more. Warden explained that what you can't see is what gives the platform its magic.